As the name suggests, what all we do, what all records we create, everything what we do, it has to be integral. Integral means it has to be a very, very honest data. So going forward to the presentation, let's have a bit of a discussion today on a data integrity which is mainly related to the laboratory today. Going forward down the line in the coming sessions, we'll discuss on data integrity in other sections also. But today we'll be mainly concentrating on the laboratory. So data integrity basically includes everything. Whether you talk about a data, you talk about a software, you talk about a system, you talk about a computerized access, GMP, records, passwords, EMAs, CFRs, anything. Data integrity is a must everywhere. So basically, if we start off with the data integrity, what do you say? What is the data? Data is basically, it's a fact and statistics which we are collecting for the reference or analysis. Then coming to integrity, integrity is nothing but the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles. So nothing about the pharma, it's common plain English, the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles. So coming to the context of pharmaceutical industry, it is generating, transforming, maintaining and assuring the completeness and consistency of data over its entire life cycle in compliance with the applicable regulations. So that is basically in context of the pharmaceutical industry. So coming to the importance of data integrity, see, since we are into pharmaceutical industry, we manufacture medicines here. Now before we take a medicine, we have to always think, is it safe? We may be an end user, we may be a producer, but we should always have a very clear thing that yes, are the medicines what we are taking are safe or not safe. So basically the data integrity undermines the safety and efficacy and assurance of quality of the drugs that the consumers will take. So any data integrity issues, if are highlighted, it will break trust. If you just take a piece of paper and you just tear it off once, you can always see how much ever you try to glue in or put a sellotape, the trust can never be built up. You will see a line, you'll see a crack, you'll see a crumple everywhere. So be very, very sure when you are generating a record, anything, it has to be one time a perfect record, because any such integrities, what I was telling you, will break a trust. And once a trust is broken, developing that trust again becomes a very, very difficult task. Data integrity is doing the right thing first time. Anytime the regulators and all and the people who are working in the pharma industry, we trust you to do the right thing when nobody is seeing. It's not that yes, if somebody is seeing me, I have to do the right thing. If you really want to give an integrity of a data, the data has to be 100% integral. You need to be very sure that whatever you are doing is right, even when nobody is watching you or nobody is seeing you. Now, what can be considered as data integrity concern? Not recording the activities online, backdating of a data, fabricating of a data, copying any existing data as a new one, reprocessing any data without any particular justifications in place, discarding a data, you have done something and just you have without recording anything, you just discarded the data without any appropriate reasons, releasing a failing material or a failing product, passing a failing material or a failing product, and not saving the data either in an electronic or in a hard copy format. So these are some of the things which can be considered as a concern on data integrity. Now, what is the criteria by which we can say a data is integral? So basically, if you see a lot of FDA warning letters and announcements of MHRA highlighted the increasing focus on data integrity in pharma industry. It's not only USFDA or MHRA, even our domestic drug control regulatory bodies, they have also expressed a lot of concern on the data integrity issues happening currently in the pharma industry. It is a subject that many pharma industries currently have significant concerns about. To add to these concerns, even the term data integrity, it can have widely different meanings or interpretations. And there are currently few definitive reference sources available on the subject. So basically, there is a term or an acronym ALCOA. We call it as ALCOA in pharma industry. It has been widely associated with data integrity by the FDA. It was first used by one Mr. Stan Woolens when he was working for the agency to help him remember the compliance terms relevant to data quality. So now we'll discuss on this parameters ALCOA one by one. After some time, the good automated manufacturing practices GMP guidelines. These are a risk-based approach to the GXP-compliant laboratory computerized systems. This includes an Appendix 3 which talks about data integrity. The terms used in the appendix are sometimes referred to as ALCOA plus also because they incorporate additional terms which are based on the European Medical Agency concept paper on the electronic data in the clinical trial. The terms associated with ALCOA plus are usually described as it should be attributable, legible, contemporaneous, original, accurate, complete, consistent, enduring, and available. So coming to the ALCOA plus, if we talk about attributable, it should be very clear who has performed an action and when the action was performed. If a record is changed, who has done it and for what purpose it was done? What is the link to the source data? So these should be very clear if we want to say data is attributable. Coming to legibility, if a data is known to be a legible data, it should be preserved, recorded permanently in a durable medium, and it should be readable. Coming to C, that is contemporaneous, the data should be recorded at the time when the work is performed, and the data or timestamps should always follow in order. Coming to O, the O is for standing for the original. The information provided in the data shall be either original recorded or a certified true copy of the original data. Coming to A, that is accurate. So that means no errors or editing shall be performed without approved documentation and amendments. Coming to now the pluses. The pluses includes complete. All data including reprocessing performed on the process should be available. It should be consistent. So the consistent application of data timestamp should be available in the expected sequences. The data should be enduring. That means all the data shall be recorded on the batch documents directly. We should not always or think of writing on a piece of paper and then again copying it back. It has to be always written directly on the documents directly. The next is available. That means all the data should be available or accessible for review or the audit for the lifetime of the record. If the record lifetime is 5 years or say 10 years, each and every data should be available and accessible for review round the clock. Coming to the passwords, many times we see the common passwords have been given. Where people share passwords, it is not possible to identify who creates or changes the record. So it has to be very clear that we should never use common passwords. Everybody should have their own individually identifiable passwords which are known only to them. User privileges, the system configuration of the software does not adequately define or segregate user levels. And users have access to inappropriate software privileges such as modification of data. So we need to be very clear that user privileges need to be defined. What an administrator can do, what a manager can do, and what an analyst can do, this has to be very clearly defined whenever we are making a standard operating procedure. Coming to the computer system controls, there have been many laboratories who have failed to implement adequate controls over data, and unauthorized access to modify, delete, or not save electronic files is not prevented. The file therefore may not be original, accurate, or complete. There have been many instances. If you go to the USFDA website, go to the form 483 is what they have issued, you can see many such cases. So we need to be very sure that the computer systems are having an appropriate control. This can be done through various methods. The best one is to have an appropriate password and access control systems. Coming to the quality control department processing methods, mainly in the HPLC systems or the GC systems, the integration parameters are not controlled and there is no procedure to define integration. Regulators are always concerned over reintegration of chromatograms. So we need to be very, very clear whenever we are doing any processings into HPLC or a GC. The graphs and all what we are generating, the integration parameters are very well defined and set, and there should be no integrations done. So one integration is done, that should be good enough. Another common data integrity issue is the incomplete data. The records may not be completed. The definition of complete data is open to interpretation. So there may be something which just left blank. So anybody can interpret anything. So whenever we are recording a data, it has to be very, very clear. The record has to be completed. We cannot leave anything blank to leave it to anybody's interpretation. The data should be crystal clear for anybody to read, review, and understand. Coming to another audit data integrity issue is basically the audit trails. Many times it has been seen by the regulators that the laboratories turn off the audit trail functionality within the system. It is therefore not clear who has modified a file and for what purpose. So the thing is very clear from the regulators that the audit trails, the systems which are enabled with an audit trail like a HPLC system or a GC system or any other system which we are using which is having a computer access control, the audit trail should always be kept into on mode. It should not be kept off. So anything, whatever is happening, it should be very clearly identifiable by the administrator or the regulators. Another thing what we need to ensure always is regulatory requirements for the data integrity is the DQ, IQ, OQ, PQ. The equipment must be qualified and fit for purpose. We should never use an equipment which is not qualified. Any software what we are using should always be validated. A software which is not validated should not be used for any purpose of analysis. Any calculations what we are using must be verified. Unverified calculations should not be permitted. Any data generated during the analysis should always be backed up. So in case of a need, we always know that yes, in case of system crash, we always have a suitable backup available which can lead to us a complete details whenever it is required. Any reagent, reference solutions, what all we are preparing in the laboratory should be prepared correctly and appropriate records should be maintained. It should not happen that after 2 months, 3 months or 6 months an audit is happening and somebody wants to backtrack when a reagent was done and unfortunately records are not available. So these are considered as a data integrity issue. So we should always ensure that anything, whatever we do, any reagents, any solutions, whatever we are doing in the laboratory, all the records should be available appropriately. Any methods, whatever we are using in the laboratory, should be documented and approved. All these methods must be verified under actual condition of use. So whenever you're doing a method validation, we have to actually perform the method. It should not be just a desktop validation. It has to be performed, it has to be verified prior to putting it to use. The data generated and transformed must meet the criteria of scientific soundness. It has to be bang on target, it cannot go haywire. So whatever data we are generating, whatever transformations we are doing, it should always have a criteria for a scientific soundness. Coming to the procedures and the test data, it should be accurate, complete, and all the procedures should be followed. We should not have something that yes, we have done something but the procedure has not been followed. Any data and reportable value must be checked by a second individual to ensure accuracy, completeness, and conformance with the procedures. So whenever we are doing any analysis, there always has to be a doer and a checker mechanism. So whatever has been done, it has to be always verified to ensure that yes, the data what has been generated is accurate and complete, and it is always conforming to the procedures which have been laid down for performing the analysis. So with this, I'll conclude this presentation. I hope it will be useful for you. And now going forward, as an employee working into pharmaceutical industry, it's your duty to ensure the integrity of data generated during the analysis. Any observations related to the integrity of data can lead to strict disciplinary actions, including removal from the laboratory. So thank you very much.